I always tried to support her in everything, whether it was about her job, her friends, or her family. I know I did not always get it right, but at least I made the effort. That is why her statement about deserving more cut me so deeply. I did not even think about arguing or buying into it. She was not upset because of something I did or did not do. She was upset because something had changed inside her. Maybe it was that so-called friend she kept mentioning, or maybe it was something else. But the woman sitting across from me was no longer the same person I had married, and I was not going to let her rewrite our marriage into a story that suited her new version. I did not push her in that moment. Instead, I just nodded and said something neutral, like, if that is how you feel, then I guess we need to figure out the next steps. She looked surprised that I was not arguing or begging her to stay, but I didn't mind. My attention had already shifted. I wanted to know who or what was causing this sudden change in her behavior. People don't just wake up one day and decide they want to leave. This was bigger, and I was not going to let it catch me off guard any more than it already had. After that conversation, she went back into her own apartment. The following Monday, I received the divorce papers, and it became clear that she did not only want to end the relationship, she wanted to take everything with her. She was demanding half the house, my savings, my assets, the car, and even spousal support. The request for support made no sense since she had a high salary of her own. It was as if she expected me to simply hand over everything I had worked for. At first, I thought maybe she was just being vengeful. But the way her demands were written, so sharp and so detailed, made me realize she was getting advice from someone. I could feel that she was not doing this alone. So I decided to start digging. I could not ask her directly who she was talking to, so I had to be careful. I began with her social media. She had not blocked me, and though she was not very active, I carefully checked her tagged photos and comments. That is when I noticed a strange pattern. A man named Jake kept liking and commenting on her posts. Nothing inappropriate, but enough to raise suspicion. I clicked on his profile, which was open, and at first he looked like nothing more than a 30-year-old marketing guy. But as I scrolled through, something caught my eye. He had posted a photo at the same cafe where I had seen her weeks before, the same day I overheard her talking about starting fresh. My gut twisted as I continued scrolling. I found little signs like a comment under one of her pictures that said, "You've got this," and even a selfie he posted from what looked like her new apartment. None of it was direct proof, but it was enough to make me suspicious. I could not just sit with this information. Her words about a friend who helped her through things kept echoing in my head. I wanted to know who it really was, so I reached out to one of our old friends, Lisa. She and my wife had been close for years, so I thought she might know something. I kept the talk casual, asking if she had spoken to my wife recently or noticed anything strange. Lisa quickly said she knew nothing, and when I tried asking more questions, she cut me off and ended the conversation. The way she rushed made me feel she was hiding something. Not ready to stop, I called another friend, Emily. I tried the same approach with her, acting like I was only trying to understand the situation. She was hesitant at first and gave me vague answers, then quickly ended the call. I was left frustrated until, to my surprise, Emily called me back later. She said she needed to be sure what she told me would not come back to her. I promised it wouldn't, and after a long silence, she finally admitted what she knew. She told me my wife had been spending a lot of time with someone named Jake, a man she met at work. Emily did not know much more, but she said Jake had been very involved in giving my wife advice about the divorce. Hearing that name again felt like the missing piece falling into place. This was not about needing space or trying to find herself. Someone else was directly involved, influencing her decisions. I knew I needed to confirm it with my own eyes. That Saturday, I drove to her apartment building and parked a block away. A few hours later, I saw exactly what I feared. She came out with Jake. They were not holding hands, but the way they leaned in close and talked as they walked together was enough. They got into his car and drove off. I did not follow. I didn't have to. It was clear now. She had not just fallen out of love. She had been preparing to leave me for someone else, and she wanted to strip me of everything on her way out. When the first mediation session started, I was ready. She came in with her lawyer, who carried a binder so thick it looked like they were going to court against a corporation. He began listing her demands, acting like they were reasonable. Half the house, the car, my assets, my savings, and spousal support. I stayed quiet, letting my lawyer wait for the right moment. Finally, my lawyer slid a stack of papers across the table and said, "Before we continue, everyone should review these." Her lawyer picked them up, and as he flipped through page after page, his confidence faded. His brow furrowed deeper with each paper. "What is this?" he asked. "These documents show the transfer of all major assets into a trust under my client's mother's name." My lawyer replied calmly. "The transfers were completed several weeks before the divorce filing. The trust is legal and irrevocable." The entire room went silent. Her lawyer turned to her with frustration. "You did not tell me about this." She snatched the documents from his hands and skimmed through them, her face flushing red as she saw the notarized dates and signatures. "This cannot be real," she muttered. Then she looked straight at me, her expression full of rage. "You planned this. You knew I was going to file, and you set this up to ruin me." I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. Her lawyer, clearly shaken, asked my lawyer to explain further. Calmly and firmly, he walked through every point, every notarized date, every legal detail that proved the transfers were airtight. There was nothing they could challenge. She finally burst out in anger. "You are unbelievable. I can't believe you did this to me." Still, I said nothing. I had only defended myself. The meeting ended with her lawyer muttering about rethinking their strategy. But everyone knew the truth. They had no moves left. As we walked out, she pulled me aside in the hallway. Her voice was low and filled with rage. "This is not over. You will regret this." I looked at her and replied, "I already regret trusting you. That is the only regret I have." What followed was worse than I expected. She broke down almost immediately. The calls started, endless calls. At first, her voicemails were calm. "I think we just need to talk. I know this got messy, but we can fix it." When I ignored them, the tone shifted. One message would be her crying and begging not to lose everything we had. The next would be full of rage, screaming that I was stingy and cruel, blaming me for everything. My lawyer told me not to respond, and I didn't. I was done playing her games. When the calls and texts didn't work, she started telling stories. Mutual friends told me she was saying the divorce was a prank, some kind of farce. But people quickly saw through the lies. They asked her, "If it is a prank, why did you file real legal papers? Why hire a lawyer?" When that excuse failed, she tried another angle. She claimed it was a test of our relationship, and that my reaction had betrayed her trust. At first, a few people believed her. Even her brother accused me of being too harsh. But then the truth came out. A mutual acquaintance, Matt, reached out to me. He said he had something I needed to see. When we met, he showed me text messages between her and Jake. I was stunned. "How did you get these?" I asked. Matt explained that a mutual friend of his and Jake's had overheard them talking. That friend got worried when Jake started bragging about helping her secure her future, which clearly meant draining me dry. So the friend had taken screenshots and passed them to Matt, knowing he could get them to me. The texts were shocking. She was not just venting to Jake. She was actively planning every move of the divorce with him. One of her messages read, "Once the settlement is done, we will have everything we need. I just need him to agree." Jake's reply was, "Don't back down. Make him feel guilty if you have to. He owes you. We will start fresh once you get the money." I stared at the messages, my stomach turning. This was not just a broken marriage. This was a deliberate betrayal. Soon, those texts spread among our mutual friends. The same people who had believed her started pulling away. Even her closest allies distanced themselves. By the time the divorce was finalized, she had nothing left but her personal belongings. Her lawyer quietly dropped the extra demands after realizing there was no legal ground. And Jake? He vanished as soon as things fell apart. He had been feeding her fantasies, but the moment it became clear she would not win, he disappeared. Her confidence collapsed without him. She kept calling me, begging me to talk, saying we could still fix things, promising she would drop everything. But it was too late. Even her family turned away. Her brother called me once, apologizing for believing her lies at the start. He admitted he had no idea what she was really doing to me. In the end, I kept the house, my savings, and something more important than all of it: peace of mind. My mother was my rock through it all, showing up with paint and plans to help me make the house mine again. Now, my life is mine. No more doubts, no more betrayal. Just peace. She is nothing more than a closed chapter in my past. The rest of the story is mine to write. Thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you can stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.